GB News Expose, Prince William rushes to Scotland amid tensions. After Prince Harry's private meeting with King Charles. The tension had been building for days, though palace aides tried desperately to disguise it with carefully orchestrated smiles and choreographed engagements. To the outside world, the Prince and Princess of Wales looked polished, refined and serene. But those who know the royal family understand that appearances deceive. The truth, laid bare in whispered exchanges between aides, in brief flashes of irritation caught by cameras, and in sudden, unexplained movements of senior royals, is that Prince William has been pushed to the edge, and the cause is none other than his younger brother, Prince Harry. When Harry slipped quietly into Balmoral to meet with King Charles III, few outside the palace knew of the visit. The meeting was private, unscheduled, and notably absent from official calendars. No photographers were summoned, no press releases drafted. For nearly an hour, Charles and Harry spoke alone, father and son, without the intrusion of aides. What they said remains a mystery, but the impact of the conversation has already reverberated through the walls of Buckingham Palace and beyond. Within hours, Prince William abandoned his public schedule and made his own rushed journey to Scotland, demanding his own audience with the king. It was a dramatic move, one that exposed the fragility of William's composure and the depth of his insecurities. For years, the narrative carefully pushed by courtiers painted William as steady, reliable, the dutiful heir who would never waver. Yet here he was, visibly rattled, running to his father not out of duty, but out of jealousy and fear. The contrast with Harry, who, despite all his criticism of the monarchy, was able to hold a private and calm meeting with Charles, could not have been more stark. Observers of the Wales's earlier engagement had already sensed something was wrong. William's jaw remained tense, his smile thin, his eyes distant. He clasped his hands together tightly as if holding back anger. Kate, ever the master of poise, tried to smooth the edges, offering gentle reassurance and leaning toward him at moments when his mask slipped. But she too appeared strained, her smile frozen in place, her words rehearsed. It was the performance of a couple struggling to maintain control, while knowing that control was already slipping away. The timing of William's sudden trip to Scotland raised more questions than it answered. Officially, aides insisted it was a routine consultation with the king, but seasoned royal reporters were not fooled. The court circular didn't mention it, the schedule didn't anticipate it, and no prior notice was given, one veteran journalist remarked. This was a reaction, pure and simple. William learned of Harry's meeting and rushed to see his father, desperate to find out what was said. That's not duty, that's panic. Inside palace walls, the mood was equally tense. Senior staff, already fatigued by months of managing Charles's health challenges and ongoing family divisions, found themselves once again dragged into the endless saga of William versus Harry. It's exhausting, one courtier confided. Every time Harry appears, William unravels. And when William unravels, everyone feels the consequences. The jealousy between the brothers has been well documented, but this episode has peeled back the last layers of royal discretion. William has long resented Harry's natural charisma, his ability to win hearts without trying. Even as second-born, Harry commanded affection and loyalty that William could never quite replicate. As children, aides joked that Harry was the fun one, the brother who made everyone laugh, while William was the serious, moody heir. Those childhood differences have calcified into adult rivalries, with William clinging to his role as heir, while constantly fearing that Harry, the so-called spare, still holds more sway with the king. And indeed, Charles's decision to meet Harry privately, without William's knowledge, has been interpreted as a stinging slight. To William, it was not simply a father speaking with a son. It was a breach of loyalty, a reminder that even as heir, he cannot fully control the family narrative. For a man already prone to flashes of temper, stories of William's rages have circulated for years. This was intolerable. Public reaction has only heightened the drama. On social media, hashtags mocking William trended for hours. #rattled wills, #jealous prince, and #Harry still matters. Memes of William scowling at his public engagement went viral, with captions suggesting he had just learned of Harry's secret audience with the king. One particularly sharp meme showed William rushing to Scotland with the caption, "When Dad talks to your brother before he talks to you." Even mainstream commentators, normally cautious about portraying the heir in a negative light, could not ignore the obvious. A BBC analyst admitted, William is supposed to represent stability, but this episode makes him look unstable, reactive, and consumed by personal rivalry. That's not the image of a future king. Across the Atlantic, American outlets gleefully dissected the drama. CNN described William as fragile in the shadow of his brother. The New York Times suggested the monarchy was haunted by the same insecurities it tries so hard to suppress. Meanwhile, celebrity magazines in the US seized on the personal angle, with headlines like, William cracks as Harry steals Dad's time. European coverage was even harsher. French papers openly mocked the heir's insecurity, describing him as un roi en panique, a king in panic. German outlets noted that William appeared more obsessed with controlling his father than preparing for the throne. Even Australian commentators, usually aligned with the British monarchy, questioned whether William's temperament could withstand the relentless pressures of kingship. For Harry's supporters, the moment was vindication. They argued that despite years of smears and accusations, Harry still commands respect from his father, and still manages to unsettle the brother who once dismissed him. Harry left the royal family but hasn't lost his power, one supporter wrote. The fact that William is this rattled proves it. For William's defenders, however, the situation was harder to spin. Some tried to argue that his trip to Scotland was an act of filial duty, a demonstration of care for his father. But the optics were impossible to ignore. William looked reactive, jealous, and desperate. In the ruthless world of public perception, those impressions stick. Behind closed doors, Charles himself is said to be frustrated. The king, sources claim, wanted a private conversation with Harry precisely because he knew William would react badly. Charles has grown weary of his eldest son's controlling instincts and short temper. The king wants peace, one insider said, but William wants control. Those are two very different things, and they're on a collision course. For palace staff, the episode is a nightmare. Every effort to project unity is undermined by William's inability to hide his jealousy. Every time Harry re-enters the picture, even briefly, William's composure collapses. And every collapse reinforces the impression of a monarchy divided, fragile, and uncertain about its future. It is against this backdrop that William's role as heir must now be reassessed. The question is not whether he will become king, that is guaranteed by law and tradition. The question is whether he has the temperament to be the monarch the country needs. If he cannot withstand the presence of his younger brother, how will he handle the pressures of leading a divided kingdom through turbulent times? As one former aide put it bluntly, William thinks Harry is the problem. But the truth is, William's reaction to Harry is the problem. That's what everyone sees now, and that's what he can't escape. And so the monarchy lurches forward, its future king exposed not as the steady hand of tradition, but as a man tormented by jealousy, consumed by rivalry, and rattled by the very brother he thought he had cast aside. The Scotland trip may fade from the headlines in time, but the image of William's tension will linger, etched into public consciousness as another reminder that beneath the gilded surface, the House of Windsor is cracking. To all my curious Sussex family, thank you all for watching, and do not forget to subscribe, like and put a comment. Bye-bye, see you then in our next episode.